We're very honored to have a fabulous keynote speaker for you today. And the man that made that happen, Mr. Jon Sargent, will introduce him. John.
I first met our keynote speaker a couple years ago with some of you who are here at the Arizona Alarm Association, and thoroughly enjoyed his time just openly talking there. I realized that this was a person, a very multifaceted person that is not what you read about and see about in the media. So by way of introduction, we have handouts of his biography. So there's a one-page that we'll get together that you'll be able to take and read. I'm not going to spend time going through that. But to set the stage, I know there's a couple people that may not know who the sheriff is, and so we're going to show you a little 3-minute video clip about the sheriff and one of the programs that he runs.
The Arizona sun rises over 1 million hangovers. It's the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. But not everyone is sleeping it off.
Here we go again! Here we go again! Same old chain gang! Same old chain gang! Marching down.
When people are driving by seeing us, they kind of go, wow, you know, I better watch what I'm doing, not drinking and driving, or I could end up on that chain gang.
The DUI chain gang is the brainchild of Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He calls himself the toughest sheriff in America, and he's also one of the most controversial.
I think it's a good program. They're out there working, saving taxpayers' money. There may be some security issues. So I hook them together. That's my official reason. If you want to know my personal reason, they can be seen by everybody wearing their nice pink shirts saying don't drink, sober.
We clean up garbage and pick out weeds out of fields. It makes our time go by faster.
Not everyone is a fan of Sheriff Arpaio's methods. A U.S. Justice Department report has deemed some of his initiatives a violation of civil rights.
Being chained up, you know, doing hard labor, you know, you get treated a little bit like animals.
Their shift over, the chain gang returns to what looks like a military camp. It's perhaps the most tangible symbol of Arizona's hardline stance on drink driving. So many drivers were being locked up. Maricopa County's regular jail couldn't cope. So Tent City was erected to take the overspill.
I'm in the Tent City jail for a second DUI, extreme. Well over the legal limit, twice over, I believe.
40% of the 1,200 inmates are here for alcohol-related misdemeanors.
I am incarcerated in Tent City for failure to pay my DUI fines. I do have a problem drinking.
Every time I pick up a bottle, I end up in jail, end up here.
Alcohol is also linked with serious crime. Up to 73% of felonies in the USA are alcohol-related. If they hadn't picked up a bottle, many of America's 2.1 million prisoners wouldn't have landed behind bars.
We're going to have questions and answers at the end of the keynote, and please wait till we get a microphone to you to be able to ask your question. So please welcome the toughest sheriff in America, Joe Arpaio.
It's the, okay.
It's really the world. You say America, but that's all right. It's the world. Actually, I've had 4,000 profiles overseas from every country. They keep coming to interview me. They don't know who the governor is, but that's all right. And I say that because you didn't see the female chain gang. This is rather new. I didn't see this one. This must be because it showed the pink DUIs, which we did a couple of days ago with the female chain gang. So we have the only female chain gang in the world. That's why I love talking to the foreign media, because Russia, I asked if you hook women together, and I asked China. So if they don't do it, I figure I'm pretty safe. We're the only ones that do it. But anyway, thank you for inviting me to this beautiful city of San Francisco. I'm very popular here, and especially with the district attorney, who was the police chief at Mesa, Arizona, and I had to raid his building, and he didn't like that, but he's not one of my fans. So I don't know if he's waiting to bust me as I leave, so I got to be very careful what I do. I wouldn't want to throw a cigarette on the street, which would probably be legal anyway. Everything's legal in San Francisco, including being here illegally. Hey, it's true. I'm not, you know. But this is a great organization. What I like about it is the coordination, the cooperation you give to law enforcement or vice versa. I believe in volunteerism. Since I became sheriff in, geez, so long ago, 1993, I wanted to build up the posse. So we have about 3,000 volunteers. We have airplanes and jeeps, motorcycles, you name it, and we use the volunteerism to help fight crime in Maricopa County. It's all free. They pay for everything. I don't pay for anything, but under the Constitution, only the sheriff can swear in private citizens and give them the authority to do law enforcement. So once again, I look at that as the public coming forward to help, just like you do with your companies. I notice there's a lot of former law enforcement that belong to this organization. I'm not too much of an expert on the alarm business. I do have an alarm at my house. Never works, but I got it. So, I don't know, you know. But I do have security, at least during the day. I don't like having security at my house, so I'm going to look at the alarm situation. I do have a sign that says you're on video. Of course, that's kind of a fake sign, but I don't know if it's a violation to have a fake video sign. I do have some connections to get these signs. Wow, that's pretty good. Is that a discount? 20 bucks a month? But you know, I have some threats on me. I don't have any security with me. It's funny that one of my deputies is from here, and he comes here quite often. In fact, he used to be in the produce business and deliver produce to this restaurant that we had a dinner at last night. Was it John's? Down the street. Very interesting people go there. Maybe feel good, but I'm even known by that segment of the San Francisco, which I don't know, all these people came up. What was it? They had masks on and knew who I was. They were what? They were in drag. Drag? I thought it was Halloween because they had all this. So I had that, you know, that has to make the media. I don't know what that has to do. One reason I want to thank the association, because they were very nice, not complaining. I wanted to cut loose. Actually, at 2:30, no, that was yesterday, I got a lot of letters from a school here in Spanish from the kids, 50 kids, mailed to my office 2-3 days ago, and they were talking about illegal immigration. They were so far off on their allegations that I just figure I'm going to be here anyway. So I'd like to cut loose yesterday afternoon and meet with the kids in the school. And they agreed to do it, but something went wrong right after that. So they canceled it, so I wasn't able to meet with the kids and the teachers. I wanted to do that while I'm already here, but it didn't work out, so the media got interested in that story, since I kind of made sure they were interested in the story. So now we had a little controversy, but I did you guys a favor. I made sure I told the TV I was here for your association, so I got you some free press. Yes, I don't know if you want to be hooked up with me, but you got free press. So when I ran, I joined the Army when the Korean War broke out, and then I was a cop in Washington, D.C. I walked a pretty tough black beat, and then I went to Vegas a short time on the police department, locked up Elvis. That was my name to fame. And everybody says, you know, they don't care about anything else. The minute I mention Elvis, everybody switches. They want to know, what did I do with Elvis? So I just saw him going down the street on a motorcycle, and he had a beautiful blonde on the back, and he's speeding. He's going 100 miles an hour. I didn't know who he was. I was looking at the blonde. I wasn't looking at him. So I took him to the police station. You know, I'm Elvis. He was making the Hawaii movies. Actually, I could use him in Hawaii these days on certain investigation I got going on a certain person at the White House, but that's another situation. So the reason I mentioned my big career was with the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration. It used to be called other names, BNDD, FBN, but I started way back in 1957, but I was the regional director in Mexico City, South America. Actually worked with General Noriega, had a couple of agents there. If you remember Bush, when he was CIA director, he invaded Panama to bring this guy back. I used to meet him in his bunker all the time. I could have taken care of him and whatever. But I bring that up that I served in Latin America for 4 years, and I was the top guy, and then I was the head of the DEA in Texas, covered that border, head of DEA in Arizona, covered that border. So I'm one guy that knows where Mexico is, but nobody talks to me about it. You would think the president would invite me to the White House and talk about my knowledge as a former federal guy. But I bring that up, my background, because I've always been a bureaucrat. And then when I ran for office, I became a semi-politician. On the other hand, nobody can tell me what to do except the 4 million people that we know of. There's a few extra floating around in Maricopa County. So that's why I then had the opportunity to do things that I feel is right and not have to worry about reporting to some mayor or governor or politician. I just report to the people. So I take that very serious. The Constitution of the sheriff. The sheriff is the chief law enforcement officer for the county. I don't know about San Francisco. They don't. I think they just run the jails or something. I don't know what the sheriff does here. He hasn't called me. So having that opportunity, and I wasn't an expert on jails, believe me. My whole career, I used to lock them up and throw them in jail. I don't care what happened to them. But now that with the jails, under the sheriff, I took that serious when a major part of your budget has to do with the jails. I think any good manager like you would give special attention to that program, which I did. I loved the jails. Maybe it made me famous or infamous. And I just started to think, let's use some common sense and run the jails using common sense. I don't do anything that's very unusual. So when I took office, I remember the first thing I did was, because I made that promise when I ran in 1992, I wanted to put up tents, Korean War tents, in the desert. And it wasn't to save money. If I was a good politician, I would brag and say this is done to save the taxpayers money, because if I had $1 billion, I'll still do it anyway. But I wanted to make it tough, and nobody would help me in Arizona to find the tents. I had to go to New Mexico, do a midnight requisition, if you know what that is in the military, and picked up about 70 Korean War tents, brought them back to Phoenix, and want to build a jail. So I didn't know where to put the tents because I didn't want to pay for the land. So we found some land, free county land next to the dump and the waste disposal plant and the dog pound. So that's where we put the tents up for $150,000 versus building a jail for 2,000 people for, what, 80 million. I think that said they're just drunks. So we have more than drunks in a jail. We have in the tents. We have 6 other jails where we put the murderers in and everything. But we have felons there that were convicted. Some of them, many of them convicted in California, of course, and then arrested by us and put in a jail. But we put them in the tents, but we're careful not to put the more serious. So I don't know what the big problem of the tents are. It's starting to be more controversial because of the illegal immigration, because now I'm being sued. They throw the tents in it. Nobody cared about tents before until we start placing illegal aliens in the tents. Now all the activists and everybody, what are you putting the illegals in tents for? But we've been doing it for almost 20 years. And I learned a little lesson that now to make sure people don't think I'm lying, I bought a thermometer. And there's another secret. The higher you go in the tents, the hotter it feels. Actually, it is. So I get my thermometer register at 140 degrees. So all the TV and everybody's so right. This is awful living at 140 degrees. And my response always is, our men and women fight for our country. They're over there living in tents. So then that shuts them up. Hard to come back on me on that one. But I've had 4 presidential candidates visit me in the tents. If it's that bad, why do people that want to run for president come and stand next to me in the tents? I remember Senator Dole, remember him? He was running, he came in there. And Governor Wilson came in, he was running. And then McCain, and then I have Phil Gramm of Texas, the senator. They all came, stand next to me. If I become president, I'm going to put tents up across the nation. The only thing is they always lose. There hasn't been anybody. I tried to get Hillary here about 3 years ago, see if she would come to the tents. No. The president, I didn't ask him. I did meet the president a couple of years ago at ASU in the basement. And the only thing I told him is, how come you call your vice president, Joe Biden, Sheriff Joe? I'm the only Sheriff Joe around here. So he looked at me kind of strange. Probably forgot the teleprompter because I've heard him 2-3 times call Joe Biden Sheriff Joe. So that was my conversation with the prez at that time. But when I took office, I took away their porno. I got sued, went up to the Supreme Court, won that one. took away their smoking before it became fashionable. You can't smoke anymore. Took away their coffee, took away their salt and pepper. So I did a lot of things to, not to save money, although it does, but once again to let them know that you should not live better there than you do in a hotel like this. So that's my message to them. And the chain gangs, I figure, why not start a male chain gang? Did that about 12 years ago, and since I'm an equal opportunity incarcerator, I don't want women to sue me for discrimination, so I decided to put the women on a chain gang. So it's been a great program. I got them right now on the streets. We're in the DUI convicted guy, and we put the chain gang on the main streets, you know, on Snooty, Scottsdale Road, in front of the governor's office and the mayor's office, because I want everybody to see them. And as the mother and father drives by, maybe they're telling the kid, you do anything wrong, you're going to be on that chain gang. Now, the pink underwear has become very famous. We've sold millions of pairs of pink underwear. I don't get the money. It goes to our Youth Assistance Foundation. It's done through our posse. So why do you put them in pink? I'm going to be very careful because of the city I'm in now, so I'm not going to get to my normal speech, but the reason is, it has to do with they were stealing the white underwear, you know, 3, 4 pairs under their belt, and selling it on the black market. So I figure if I put it in pink, nobody wears pink in those days, we would know it's ours and help. Now the other reason, of course, I'm not going to get into, I will say this, they hate pink. And and that's all. I'm not going any further what I normally say. Has nothing to do with California, but that's right. So that's where the pink underwear came up. I saw over TV last night. They said I put them in pink and I feed them green bologna. That's old. Not the bologna, but that's an old story. You know, I don't feed them green bologna. I did at one time. But once again, they don't know the true story. We always go to get donations. We come to California to the farmers and hope to get the tomatoes, cucumbers, and we truck it back. It's free, donated, and we feed the inmates. It keeps our price down. But the bologna, years ago, someone bought tons of bologna on St. Patrick's Day, and they pumped in green dye, and nobody took it. I took the bologna. I got free bologna. And it was green. But to this day, every inmate, when they eat our bologna, they think it's green. It isn't green. So I decided, I remember, you know, after church, you go to the hotel, you get brunch. Oh, brunch. So we don't feed them anymore 3 times a day. We decided to go for brunch, which is a bologna sandwich. And then we give them a hot meal at night. But that's all right. They get their 2,800 calories. A lot of it's bread. We cook our own bread. In fact, actually, we do everything ourselves. The inmates do the cooking. So our meals have gone up. I'm concerned about California. Maybe it's because on all my transportation vehicles I have big signs that say any illegal aliens call Sheriff Joe Arpaio's hotline. So I don't know, coming into California, that could be bad. So our meals have gone up. It used to be 35 cents a meal. That's like 60 cents a day. Now we're up to 80 cents a day, which makes me a little angry. But we're going to, when I get back, I'm going to start charging them for their food. So that should help somewhat. So next year, in January, they're going to have to pay. Charge them $1 a day. That's all right. That's not bad. $1 a day. We average some 8,000 to 10,000 people in jail a day. So that's sort of our jail program that put me on the news. You know, not bad. I think I've been sued a couple of times, one with a porno, and another one, I can't remember. I get sued so much I forget which is which. So that started my career, and I remember about 6 years ago, the illegal immigration started becoming a problem where everybody recognized, and I had 100 of my deputies trained by Homeland Security to enforce the illegal immigration laws. So when my deputy is patrolling and comes across any illegal alien, puts his federal hat on and act as a federal officer and took action. But then the new administration removed my 100 deputies' authority, but it doesn't matter. In fact, it's better for me because I don't have to do federal reports anymore. I enforce the state laws. We got 2 state laws, so this is great. I don't need the feds, but it made me a little angry. 100 days in the Obama administration, they start investigating me on criminal abuse of power and civil rights. The criminal thing, they just dumped, there was no charges or anything a few months ago, but it made good publicity in the headlines all the time. The Department of Justice a year ago, just when the election is picking up, came and did their big press conference saying they're going to take me to court if I don't give in, like 19 other police departments have always given in to the Civil Rights Division instead of fighting. However, they forgot I'm an elected sheriff, so I refuse to give in, refuse to have the feds run my office and tell me what to do. So we're going to see them in court, and we'll fight it out and see who's going to win in court, in a federal court. So these are little extra excitements that I have to put up with. The illegal immigration, as I said, is very controversial. I'm like the poster boy. The president mentioned me at the White House. He knows who I am, of course. And the Department of Justice and everybody's zeroing in on me. Even in Phoenix, I just won an election. It was a little more difficult this time because of the illegal immigration problem. Republicans and Democrats didn't like not all Republicans, but a few, because we do raid businesses. We're the only ones that do that. We have a civil law that was passed, state employer sanction, a civil, but we go into the business establishments and we arrest people with fake ID. Nobody talks about the majority of workers that we arrest have fake Social Security, driver's license. That's a big issue. But it's always that I separate families, separate dishwashers and from their families. That's true, but they should not have fake ID. And then the human smuggling, we get people coming through the county and we arrest them. We're the only ones that put them in our jails instead of turning them over to ICE because we charge the person that paid and not just the smuggler, the coyote. We book them all in. The only ones that do that. We just arrested about 80 in the past 30 days on these felony charges, so much that they're not coming in. They're coming in. We get them. And I always said to Schwarzenegger, I think he was the former governor here, should be thanking me, and the new governor should thank me, because many of those people we grab and put in our jails are coming here. So they ought to say, thank you, Sheriff. Boy, you're keeping these guys coming into California to work. You're putting them in your jail. I don't have to put up with them, but I don't know. I don't get any thanks from California. So it's such a political problem. It's an economic problem. It's a law enforcement problem, that border. I get very amused at these the slogans they come up with. Have you noticed that? Oh, now it's the cliff. What is it, a fiscal cliff? Where do they find that out? They see some cliff in the ocean and figure, that's a nice name. Have you noticed when they say cliff and everybody starts talking about it? The garbage man will talk about it. We got to worry about the cliff. I remember the cartels. I thought that was a French restaurant when I first heard about cartel. You know, when I worked Chicago as a federal agent, we used to call it, well, any Italians here, forgive me, we used to call it the mafia. And then the sons of Italy went to the Attorney General of the United States, this is awful. Okay, then we start calling it organized crime. And then the crime syndicate. I can go on and on. Actually, there was a mafia. That is a legitimate title. Actually, now you got the Russian mafia, Chinese mafia, everybody's a mafia. So it's cartels, where did that come from? So they come up with a name, and then everybody talks about it. Another word, I had to look at the dictionary. Since I don't have a computer, I have a Smith Corona electric typewriter, and so I don't know anything about computers, emails, iMails, all this garbage. All I got is a little old, whatever it is, telephone. That's all I use. But now, transparency, where'd that come from? I had to look in a dictionary. 3 years ago, everybody said we have to have transparency. I never heard that word before. And then boots on the ground, where do they get that? From some movie? We need more boots on the ground. Never heard of that. So they come up with these slogans. Now there's a new one. We must secure the border. Okay, an 8-year-old knows. They know to get the alarm from you to secure their border, which happens to be their house. Everybody knows that, security. But now they put a word on there. If you notice, we must secure the border first. Oh, before we look into comprehensive immigration. Oh, you got to secure the border, then they'll start deciding whether we should lock up those here in this country illegally. Another cop-out. You're never going to secure the border. Never. I remember G. Gordon Liddy and I ran an operation. Actually, we put up our headquarters at San Pedro in 1969 called Operation Intercept. President Nixon was angry. We're going to close this border once and for all, and we're going to stop the drug traffic. We didn't really close it, but we searched every car. In 2 weeks, we got one marijuana cigarette. But it made the Mexicans so angry because we did this. Actually, I took over in Mexico City right after that. They hated us. It wasn't easy. So what did I do? You know, I'm a new guy in Mexico City. I did work 4 years in Turkey before, so I knew a little about foreign affairs. And so I used to have the Attorney General of Mexico over the house. He loved blueberry pie. My wife, I've been married 55 years, she knows how to cook pies, so she cooked blueberry pies for him. And threw in some whiskey. I got more done with blueberry pie and whiskey than the big stick. I didn't have any problems with Mexico. You got to have some type of respect and trust, and you can get things done in foreign countries, and the border too. But I just see too much talk. Everybody's talking, talk. They're going to do it, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I think this time around that they'll really look at this, Congress will. They look at the election, the past election, and now they're all worried about the Hispanic vote. So I presume now that somebody's going to talk about it in Washington and maybe get this thing resolved one way or the other. When I raid these businesses, we've done 59. 60 is coming up. Not going to make people happy since I'm extending my hand to the community, Latino community. But I'm extending my hand, but doesn't mean I'm going to put my handcuffs away. because we're still going to enforce the laws. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to stop. But we have to come to some type of solution to get this resolved. In Maricopa County, there's about 35% of the people living there are Latinos. And so it's a big population there. I have about 40% of my employees are Hispanic. Nobody will talk about it. Out of 4,000 employees, I can't get the message out. Recently, I have some openings for the jail to hire our officers, so I made top priority the veterans. So we hire veterans first. In fact, we just graduated 25 last month, so I believe we should give our veterans a chance to work in the jails, and we have some great programs. Another thing we've done with the inmates is, well, actually, we have about 35 different countries working for the sheriff's office, and I haven't counted how many, but we had the green card. I started hiring green card employees about 8, 9 years ago. They're not U.S. citizens, but they're here legally on the green card. I have them from Russia, China, you name it, which is great because I don't have to hire a translator. I got people working for me. And then I have the inmates give up their organs after they leave, not when they're in there, so they sign up. They sign up for organs. And then the selected service. We sign up 25,000 people, inmates, for the selected service. About 12,000 are illegals. Think of that. Washington, when I checked with Washington, they didn't know that illegal aliens had to sign up for selected service. That's in the law. You can get 5 years in prison for not signing up for selected service. I'm not going to get into the investigation I'm doing on the president on selected service. That's another issue. But I seem to be an expert because I started this many years ago, signing up illegal aliens for selected service. So we do some nice things with the inmates. I appreciate it. We have good programs that nobody will talk about. And I'm glad because then I won't be called the toughest sheriff. I'll be called the nicest sheriff, and I sure don't want that. But if I tell you what I've been doing, you're going to call me very nice because we do have a great drug prevention program. We have Girl Scouts behind bars. We allow the kids to come in and their incarcerated mothers. We form Girl Scout troops. We have religious programs, DUI programs. I'm going to have to open up a celebrity tent because I've had some celebrities come through, and I've known them all, Mike Tyson, Barkley, Glenn Campbell. But you know what? You violate the law, you're going to jail. Years ago, I switched from uniforms to, stripes. I kind of remember Alcatraz. So why can't we go from green and blue scrub uniforms that the types that the nurses wear? Why would you want inmates to wear the same color uniform as our medical profession? So I put them in stripes. And I always talk to the inmates and ask them how they feel. It's great because when they say they hate it, I go do it in 24 hours. I don't have to wait. I'm elected. I don't need all these bureaucratic studies and all this garbage. I just get to die and do it. So I went to the women. I said, we're going to put you in the stripes. The only thing they asked me, I had to go home and ask my wife, please make the stripes go this way and not that way. So how different? Why? Oh, we look fatter when they go this way. Geez, I'm thinking I give them like 20-cent meals, and they're worried about gaining weight. So, and also when a guy escapes, you'll know it's not a doctor. Run into an emergency ward. recently we had a guy escape. You know, he's so stupid. He took his stripes off. He forgot the pink underwear. So we grab him with the pink underwear. I mean, how many people are running down the streets? Well, I won't say where. You know, so I guess it happens sometimes, but it's unusual, I would think. So they know it's our guy escaping. So it's, you know, sometimes there's always a mess. How much time do I have? Huh? What a great guy is. You know his last name is Sargent? What if he was in the Army? It'd be Sergeant Sargent, or a police sergeant. I don't know. I figure. You know, I have a guy, really. A guy named, his first name is Sheriff. I'm wondering if he ever beat me, it'd be Sheriff. Anybody have any questions? I didn't get to half of what I wanted to get to, but. No questions? What is it? Yeah.
You obviously have a great demeanor about you. How do you pick your management team to work under you?
How do I what?
How do you pick your management team that works under you? Because you're obviously a
Management team?
firecracker.
Oh, a lot of you guys are in management. You're there to make money. Actually, when I retired, I was head of the federal drug enforcement in Arizona. That's what brought me there, and I joined my wife in business. So I ran a small business like you do, working for my wife. Actually, that's why I ran for sheriff. You work for your wife, you know. Travel business. I never got a free ticket, you know, but we made money. Management is getting things done through people. You're only as good as the people that work for you. I think you agree with that, too. So I don't think I'm the greatest manager around, but I'm probably the only government agency that gives money back every year to the county. Millions I give back. You'll never hear that. Of course, the county will never brag about me. They don't like me because I think I've done some investigations. I won't get into that. So you're only as good as the people. I have about 4,000 employees, 3,000 posse guys, almost 10,000 inmates, so any one of those guys can sue me. And, but we do good, and it's hard to get the word out that we do good things. I'm the guy that everybody's zeroing in on, but they forget the good work that my employees do. So give them all a raise.
Sheriff, if the federal government ever got down to it, would you support a bill which would make these illegal immigrants or give them some type of legal status?
Good question. Yeah, that's a tough one. Would I support a bill that gives legal status to the illegal aliens that are already in this country? Is that what you're talking about?
Correct.
The so-called 10, 15 million.
Correct.
Well, we got guest worker programs. I'm really not against a guest worker program if you start now and coming into our country. The visas, if you want to, increase the visas, okay. I have a little concern about those already here. And my concern is more of a moral type situation because I know there's so many people in the world that want to come here, and they wait for years. They have to get lawyers and wait for quotas before they get here. So they obey the law. And then you have all these people that come here that violated the law, and then we're going to reward them with citizenship or amnesty. I don't know. That's not fair. Not fair. That's the way I look at it. And I do know a lot of people come here to work. I raided McDonald's and I raided Payway, and every time I raid these places, we make vacancies for those here legally. So that's a big problem. That's going to have to be answered, but I wouldn't hold your breath. What they're going to do is chip you around, talk about the DREAM Act, but I don't think they're going to change everything at the same time. So I don't know if I skirted your very controversial question that I'm going to have to be asking. But I want to get out to the Latino community. Pumped $500,000, the unions in New York, the hotel unions, plus California, pumped a lot of money to defeat me because I'm locking up illegal aliens. But that's my job to do that. I got to get that message out more. Yes.
As long as you skirted the issue, what would you do with the, what would be the alternative as to what to do with these 15 million or 20 million illegal aliens?
Did you say I skirted the issue?
No.
I don't know. Did I skirt it? I don't know. Oh, he's a lawyer? Oh, he's probably an immigration lawyer. Well, you know what? All I can say in Arizona, I get blamed for 100,000 illegals leaving the county. Over 100,000. Now, they all probably came here to California, but no, a lot of them have gone back because of the deterrence and that type of thing. I still feel that we can still enforce the immigration laws and deport those that are here illegally. But that's something we're going to have to look at. And that's not up to me, that's up to Congress to look at it. I'm just enforcing the law. I think we do pretty good at it. And I'm the guy that's built my own bed because I'm very active, and I'm sure I'm pretty good in public relations. So the whole world knows what I do. I don't keep it secret like police chiefs do. Not bad-mouthing police chiefs again, but they have to worry about the mayors or everything else. I just have to worry about the people that I serve. So it's tough, but let's get something done about it. I don't know why California, they have laws. Why aren't they enforcing them? Why should we have laws if you don't enforce them? Take them off the book if you're not going to enforce them. I enforce them. I do it, and that's the way it's going to be. Yes.
Question back here first.
Yeah. Sherry, what kind of feedback do you get from businesses whose premises you raid? We know that generally businesses would like to do things right, but on the other hand, you cannot really compete against a guy next door to you who does hire illegal immigrants. Do you receive any feedback from local businesses on your efforts?
I heard the first part, which I'll try to answer. I didn't hear this, about what type of feedback I get from those businesses that we go in,
right,
and we take people out.
Exactly.
And of course, I always have the TV there, so I'm giving free publicity to the business. So I don't think we've done any alarm businesses in Phoenix yet. So. But those in Phoenix area, if you have any problems, come and see me, and we'll talk about it, try to get that E-verified. And sometimes businesses are not at fault. It's the system. On the other hand, if they have illegal aliens working, especially with false ID, we're going to do something about it. So maybe these laws have to be looked into for business people. But it does one thing, it opens up vacancies for, as I said, people here legally in our country. We have an 8% unemployment problem, and I think we should give the jobs to those that are here legally so they can feed their kids. And I'm not going to go into the social aspects. I never do, like they get free medical while you're waiting back on the line, they get the free medical, all this stuff, the schools. I just had 50 kids write to me in Spanish. Today when I was being interviewed, I just thought of it. Why are they writing to me in Spanish? San Francisco to me in Phoenix. Why didn't they write to me in English? Good question. And then I was willing to meet with them, as I say. Well, if they can't meet with me, I want to meet with the the teacher and the principal. Come on over here. We'll have a little tea, and we'll talk about it. No, they chickened out big time last night. I wonder why. Wonder why. But I'm not letting them get by with it because I've already publicized this. I don't think it's right when I extend my hand. I have kids marching against me. The Pianata, they cut my head off on demonstration and show it to all the kids. This is bad. This is bad. Propaganda, talking to these kids and making them angry at me especially, and that's not good for respecting law enforcement. I still am a law enforcement guy, and that's not good for parents to do that, or teachers to do that. So there's a lot a lot of education, a lot of work out there to get all this hype out of the way, which it ever can. I don't know. There's going to be certain groups, no matter what I do, never going to agree with me until I'm gone. So that's sad about what happened here in San Francisco.
Earlier you mentioned about putting different labels on things. What are your views on now they're using the term undocumented workers instead of illegal aliens?
Well, the media always says undocumented, and the politicians that don't want to admit, that's just like the cartels. Another name they give it, undocumented. Where did that come from? I mean, the law says illegal aliens. That's what it says. Who came up with undocumented? Well, we know. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll change from illegals crossing the border. Maybe I just say border violators, and at the last paragraph, just say they all happen to be illegal. But I won't put that in the. But why are we hiding it? Why do we hide it? We've arrested tons of marijuana recently, and every one of the smugglers were here illegally. There's a tie between illegal immigration and drug trafficking. Nobody wants to address that either. And we've had I got two deputies that died this year under violent circumstances. One was shot with automatic weapons and killed. But the same guy, 2 days earlier, killed 2 tourists in Sedona. We didn't know there was that connection until we looked at the guns. So when I get back next week, I didn't do it this week because I'm here. I got to pace myself. But next week I'm going to have a press conference, and I'm going to once again show off my 50 caliber machine gun. I'm the only one that has 50 caliber that I ordered from Belgium. 8 years, it took me a year to get it through customs. And, but I'm going to issue automatic weapons to all my deputies. So my deputies are going to be well defended. So that's going to, that'll make news too, because it would, I have to say that we're catching all these dope peddlers coming through the rural areas into our county. And a lot of them are illegal. I hope they don't think I'm going to shoot illegal aliens. That's not what the guns are for. I just want my deputies to have enough firepower to defend themselves. That's all. My deputies, I have full confidence. I just saw on TV this morning the chief of police here. They're making a big deal about tasers. He finally says, well, we'll give 5% to our patrol. All my deputies have tasers. In fact, I gave tasers to every officer working in the jails. Everyone has a taser, which could be a little controversial, is too, but so what? I used to have a blackjack and a nightstick. Now everybody's got tasers and guns, machine guns, everything on their belt, telephones. I just had a blackjack and a .38 Smith & Wesson that relates to my Smith Corona typewriter. In fact, my Smith Corona is more powerful than the bullets. Ask the media for that.
Okay, we're just about out of time here. We're going to do something real special for a moment, and then we're going to break, have lunch, and for those of you who'd like to meet the sheriff, maybe have a picture taken with him, he's going to be in the Fillmore room for a little bit right after lunch, which is at the end of the other side there by the elevators. So I'd like to turn this over to John Hopper.
Thank you. Sheriff Joe, on behalf of the California Alarm Association, would like to present you with a token for our appreciation for being here today.
Oh, very nice.
And Sheriff, you probably don't like being surprised, but we do have a surprise for you today. Could I get Keith Baird, our Diamond sponsor, to come up, please? Yeah.
That's San Francisco.
The sheriff mentioned in his presentation that he does a lot of hard work in his community with youth. So I'll turn this over to Keith Baird.
Sheriff, on behalf of the California Alarm Association, we'd like to present this check for $5,000.
Oh, that's very nice.
For your
thank you very much. Thank you.
And we certainly appreciate you taking the time to come and visit us and share your story.
Thank you. This is going to... This is going to go a long way to help our youth. I'm very proud of that Youth Assistance Foundation, and that pink underwear, all that money goes there too. So this is very good, and thank you. And I extend a welcome for all of you. If you want to come to Arizona, get away from California. And if you'd like to take a tour of the tent city, just let us know and we'll take you. You can go talk to the inmates, see them badmouth me and hear them, but that's all right. So see how we operate in Maricopa County, Arizona. But anyway, thank you. This will go a long way helping us.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a Twitter that I don't know how to work. I just tell my people how to push the buttons. I don't know how to push buttons. And a Facebook, I think I got 200,000 followers. So I'm gonna twit this. And I just left the speech in California Alarm Association. Just donated $5,000 to my Youth Assistance Foundation. So at least somebody will be reading it. I'm sure the papers would never print it. I can't get media because it's nice. But I have a Twitter, so I'll do it because you deserve a lot of credit what you do for the society and community. And I think more people should know that, and it's hard to get the message out, I'm sure. Thank you. Thank you.
America's most controversial sheriff is in hostile territory tonight. Arizona's JON Arpaio is in San Francisco as an invited guest despite strong public sentiment against him. ABC 7 News reporter Lillian Kim spoke with the sheriff who's made a name for himself by opposing illegal immigration.
The infamous Sheriff Joe Arpaio hit the town tonight, receiving a San Francisco-style welcome at John's Grill. Customers were shocked to see him.
Kudos to San Francisco, the fact that we show the examples of what he should be following, which is embracing everyone.
Arpaio has been the elected sheriff of Arizona's Maricopa County for 20 years, best known for his aggressive stance on illegal immigration and the lawsuit filed against him by the U.S. Justice Department for racial profiling. He's in San Francisco to speak at the California Alarm Association convention at the Park 55 Hotel.
Well, I'm a little disappointed because from New Hampshire to California, every time I travel, give a speech, I have demonstrators. I don't see any here.
Yet despite the lack of demonstrations, sentiment against Sheriff Arpaio's positions is strong in San Francisco, and that includes the opinions of students here at James Lick Middle School in Noe Valley. They recently mailed him letters, all written in Spanish, accusing him of racism and breaking up families. Arpaio wanted to meet those students face-to-face. He even scheduled something for Friday, but the school ultimately canceled. The sheriff is disappointed.
I can explain every one of those allegations and let them know it's not true and try to educate them that we should enforce the laws.
School children aren't the only ones Arpaio won't be meeting during his stay. There are no plans to meet with District Attorney George Gascon either, who raised money for Arpaio's opponent in last month's election.
Well, certainly we'd love to send them a message that, come enjoy the city, spend your money here, and go back and rethink the way that you police work.
There's little chance of that. Arpaio says most of America sides with him, and while he's 80 years old, he has no plans to slow down. In San Francisco, Lillian Kim, ABC 7 News.
He is the toughest lawman in the West and probably the most polarizing. Some Bay Area students made that clear when they told Sheriff Joe Arpaio in writing what they think of him. And he planned to answer them today in person, but CBS 5 reporter Linda Yee tells us that never happened.
He's America's toughest sheriff, and Joe Arpaio of Maricopa County, Arizona, admits he courts controversy. He got a dose of that tonight when drag queens invaded his dinner party. The sheriff is in town for a convention. He hoped to also reach out to 8th graders at James Lick Middle School who sent him letters. Students wrote in Spanish their disagreement with his fight against illegal immigrants and his tent prisons in the hot desert sun.
They accused me of running concentration camps. They called me a racist. I can go on and on. So I just wanted to meet with the kids and tell them the truth.
But he says the district suddenly canceled his planned meeting. The school district's media rep said she was too busy to explain on camera, but denied there ever was a meeting. The sheriff defends Arizona law that allows his deputies to check people's citizenship.
So you don't speak English, you have no ID, you can't tell where you're from or anything else.
That would be the criteria?
I think that's part of it. That's suspicion. It's lower than probable cause, and then we have a right to call immigration and check you out.
But the sheriff's reach is being investigated by the Justice Department. A 2-year investigation found Latino drivers in his county are 4 to 9 times more likely to be pulled over than non-Latinos.
What do you say to people who call you racist?
You know what I'm going to say? You know what, N-O? The answer is no. Period. I don't have to try to justify those allegations. I know what I am.
In San Francisco, Linda Yee, CBS 5.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio visiting California's Bay Area this weekend. Arpaio, known for his stringent crackdown on illegal immigration, getting a not-so-warm welcome from some middle school students Friday.
Good job staying out of trouble.
The man known by many as America's toughest sheriff had no problem signing pink boxer shorts and books at a trade convention for the burglar alarm industry in San Francisco. However, getting past these doors was tougher than he thought. In advance of the sheriff's visit, 50 students at James Lick Middle School sent him letters in Spanish, telling him how they, quote, disagree with his law enforcement tactics. Sheriff Arpaio called some of what the children wrote nasty.
They said I have concentration camps with my tent city that I put up 20 years ago. Then I'm a racist. And I break up families, and I just go after brown people.
Many of the children focused in large on Arizona's Show Me Your Papers law, SB 1070, believed to be one of the strictest measures on illegal immigration in the country. The sheriff says he would have liked to explain to the children that he doesn't make the law, he enforces it. But he never got that chance. Sheriff Arpaio had planned on meeting with the children, but the school district canceled that meeting, saying, quote, due to scheduling, it isn't going to work for Sheriff Arpaio to speak with students in person while he is in town for a conference. The sheriff says he doesn't think scheduling is the issue.
I don't know what their agenda is. I'm sure it may have gone up the line, and someone said, oh, no, you're not going to have that sheriff in our school.
Now, when Fox 10 called the school to find out why they canceled the sheriff's scheduled appearance, the school simply said they don't have a reason.
A man considered to be the toughest sheriff in America is visiting in San Francisco, and he's trying to figure out whether students at a local middle school sent him hate mail. Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio tried to clear it up with school officials. ABC 7 News reporter Terry McSweeney joins us from school district headquarters. Terry, what happened?
Well, Joe Arpaio right now is known as the toughest sheriff in America. He's also known as the most controversial sheriff in America, and this morning he just might qualify as the most frustrated sheriff in America.
Some of the letters are pretty much perfectly typed. Others exhibit almost adult-quality penmanship. But the words, all in Spanish, allegedly from students from San Francisco's James Lick Middle School, sent to the sheriff of Maricopa County, Arizona, Joe Arpaio, are designed to hurt.
Then they said I have concentration camps with my tent city that I put up 20 years ago. Then I'm a racist, and I break up families, and I just go after brown people.
Arpaio has a national reputation for his aggressive enforcement of illegal immigration laws. He says he figured, since he received the letters just a few days ago, and he was coming to town anyway, he offered to come out to Lick Middle School and talk to the students, or at least talk to the teachers or the principal.
I'm concerned about parents with giving the wrong message to their kids, and even teachers in schools, because this class had to be controlled by a teacher.
But Arpaio says the meeting today was suddenly canceled by Lick Middle School officials. He doesn't know why, but he never believed the letters were really from the children, that it was an orchestrated effort by a teacher or teachers to turn children against him. Sheriff Arpaio doesn't mind being known as the sheriff who made inmates wear pink underwear, eat green bologna, or work on chain gangs. But he doesn't want these kids to think of him for something he never did.
Just about 10 minutes ago, we received an email from the San Francisco Unified School District saying that the problem was scheduling, and they would like Sheriff Arpaio to write them a letter so it can be read to the students in class. Sheriff Arpaio, for his part, says he's available this afternoon, tonight, all the way to midnight if necessary, to meet with teachers or the principal. Live in San Francisco, Terry McSweeney, ABC 7 News.